Hello friends, I Dr. Minal Harde from Department of Pharmaceutical Chemistry, E Society's Modern College of Pharmacy, Nigri, Pune. Welcome you all in today's session. Today we are going to see details on topic chromatography. So what is chromatography? Chromatography, this term indicates color writing. Chromato means color and graphy means writing. So this method in which the component of mixture are separated on the adsorption. Here this is chromatography is the technique for separation of mixture or compound. So what is the IUPAC definition? It is a method used primarily for the separation of compounds or components of a sample in which the components are distributed between two phases, one of which is stationary while the other moves. The stationary phase may be say solid or liquid supported on the solid or a gel and may be packed in a column, spread as a layer or distributed as a film. The mobile phase may be gaseous or liquid. Now chromatography is classified into four types, majorly four types. First is the adsorption chromatography, second is the partition chromatography, third is ion exchange chromatography, and last is molecular sieve chromatography. While the adsorption chromatography, here it can be gas solid chromatography, or here adsorption chromatography is example. GSC is an example of adsorption chromatography as well as HPTLC is an example of adsorption chromatography, while in partition chromatography, column chromatography, paper chromatography or TLC is an example of adsorption chromatography. Then what is partition chromatography? It involves liquid or gas as a mobile phase and another liquid or solid as a stationary phase. What is adsorption chromatography? In this technique, it involves liquid or gas as a mobile phase and adsorbent solid as a stationary phase. Principle of paper chromatography. The principle involves in separation by paper chromatography is largely by partition coefficient phenomenon. The separation of components depend on both their solubility in the mobile phase and their differential affinity to the mobile phase and the stationary phase. Then choice of filter paper. Here we are starting with the operation technique. In this first is the choice of filter paper. Here Whatman filter paper are majorly used in the paper chromatography. This contains 98 to 99% of alpha cellulose. There are various grades and types of filter papers. Whatman filter paper is majorly used as a filter of choice. Then factors that govern the choice of paper. First is nature of sample and solvent is used based on quantitative analysis as well as based on thickness of the paper. Then preparation of paper. How we have to prepare the paper for the paper chromatography. First of all, we have to cut the paper into the desired shape and size depend upon work to be carried out. Then starting line is the mark on the pencil with an ordinary pencil which is having the difference from the bottom is 5 cm. On the starting line, marks are made 2 cm apart from each other. Then application of sample. The sample mixture which has to be separated is applied as a small spot on the original line. The spot is dried on the filter paper and is placed in the developing chamber. The micropipette or glass capillary is used for sample preparation. Solvents. The number of solvents can be used in the paper chromatography. The solvent selection depends upon nature of substance to be separated. For example, various solvents we can use in the paper chromatography based on their inotropic series. Example, ethyl alcohol, anhexane, benzene, toluene, N-butanol, water, ethanol, chloroform, etc. Then chromatographic chamber. The chromatographic chamber are made up of many materials like glass, plastic or stainless steel. Glass tanks are preferred most. They are available in various dimensional size depending upon paper length and development type. The chamber atmosphere should be saturated with solvent vapor. Development of chromatogram. The paper is dipped in solvent in such a manner that the spot will not dip completely into the solvent. The solvent will rise up by capillary action. It is allowed to run 2/3 of paper height for better and efficient separation or result. After development is complete, paper is taken out of the chamber carefully. Then how to dry? Drying of chromatogram. The chromatogram is dried after its development. They are dried by cold or hot air depending on volatility of solvent. A simple hair dryer is a convenient device to dry chromatogram. Then location of spot. How to obtain the spot if it is not visual. If the substances are colored, they are visually detected easily. But for colorless substance, physical and chemical methods are used to detect the spots. Physical methods, which are that in this method, observation are done under UV light, detection of fluorescence and radioisotopes measurement. In this method, chemical reagent is used to develop the color. Example, for detection of amino acid, anhydride reagent can be used. For detection of alkaloid, drag and drop reagent is used. After developing, we have to calculate the RF value. So RF value, it is also called as retention factor value, retardation factor, or relative to the front value. In paper chromatography, the results are presented by RF value, which represent movement or migration of solute relative to the solvent front. So the formula to calculate the RF value is distance traveled by solute to the distance traveled by solvent front. After that, which are the various development techniques for the paper chromatography? There are various methods for development of paper chromatography. So first is the descending technique. What is descending technique? In this method, solvent moves from top to bottom. So it is called as descending technique. What is ascending technique? In this case, the solvent migrates upward by capillary action. What is ascending descending technique? In this, a hybrid of about two techniques is called ascending descending chromatography. Initially, ascending chromatography is performed. After crossing the glass rod, changes in descending. Then next is the radial chromatography. This is rarely used method. In this case, a circular paper or piece of paper is taken which has a wick cut parallel to the radius from an edge to center. The sample is applied at the center of the paper. The paper is then laid on the edge of circular disc with wick dipped into the solvent at the bottom of dish. Then next is two-dimensional chromatography. In this method, a square paper is taken. The sample is applied to one of the corners. Using solvent system, the first development is carried as ascending method. The paper is taken out, dried, and second development is performed at right angle to the first dimensional development. Next is application of paper chromatography. What are the different applications? Such as it is used for separation of organic mixtures. It can also be used in almost all areas to solve complicated problems in the chemistry, biology, or biochemistry. And very slightly it is used for qualitative and quantitative analysis. So all these are the applications of paper chromatography. Thank you so much.